Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Janine McGowan, and this is my Flosstube, where I discuss whatever comes up, but mostly cross-stitch and puppies. So, it's lovely to see you. It's been 3 weeks since the last video, and it feels like it's been, I think, even longer because it's been very busy. Lots happened. I had my birthday party, which was lovely, and I want to thank all of you who wrote such touching comments and sent well wishes. It was very much appreciated, and because I went traveling right after, I didn't get to respond to every comment. I read them all and they were so appreciated, and I just wanted to let you know that even if I didn't write directly back to everyone, I really was touched by your thoughtfulness. So thank you all so much for sharing your time with me that way in particular. Then the following weekend, I went off to Oregon, and I went to visit my aunt and uncle at the Oregon coast, spent some time with them, and then on the way back I got to stop in Portland, and it was not quite the trip I had hoped for. I got to come by Acorns and Threads twice, actually, and run some errands in Portland. I spent some time with Beth Twist and Teresa Kogut, and we did a little Jingle Ball prep stuff, and got to do fun things like that, and I was being very patient, and I was waiting until after the event started, the first day when they'd had their lunch and they'd seen the projects. I was going to come down and actually get to spend time with people, and I kept saying, I'll be back down this afternoon, so I'm waiting and I'm not crashing the party too early. And that as I was patiently waiting in my room, enjoying my lunch, my aunt called to say that they had all gotten COVID and I'd been exposed. So I couldn't go spend time with everybody down there, and then I left very early the next morning. So that was the only disappointment. There were a bunch of people I was hoping to see, and then suddenly I needed to stay isolated and not pass that around potentially. So that was a bummer, but I did get to visit Acorns and Threads. I don't think I got anyone sick. Beth spent quite a bit of time with me and she didn't get sick, so that's good. I couldn't take responsibility for taking down Beth Twist, especially at an event, but it looked like a wonderful time, and I'm sure that everyone who got to go there had a great experience. All right, it's been 3 weeks and we have a very fun group of stitching and actions. Not just more than usual, but a lot more variety than I often get. So this is a treat, everybody. First up, we have Haunted Hounds. And Lisa used the Haunted Hounds, which is a free design on the website, and she stitched them on perforated paper, and then she put felt and magnets on the back. And I love these. I love the way that they came out. Ooh. Pardon me, I'm a little sleepy. It's Friday evening, actually, that I'm filming this, and I've got my end of the day glasses on. I don't do that very often, but anyway, I couldn't be more thrilled at the way they came out. And we don't even have any magnets on our refrigerator, but now I kind of want some, and I want to do all of these. So thank you so much, Lisa, for sharing this. I don't know if you can see in the detail. She made some adjustments on the pumpkins so that they would have beadwork in between and she could fit that all in. So I just absolutely stellar being drunk with power, Lisa. I love these, and thank you for sharing. Next up, we have In Praise of Pollinators, and Peggy stitched this. She used the 40 count Stormy Night and the called for DMC, and I just love it. I love the way it came out. I'm really pleased. Peggy said this was her first blue flower finish, so thank you so much, Peggy. Boy, you jumped right in at the deep end, didn't you? You don't start small, but well done, Peggy. Thank you so much for sending that in. Next up, we have Seasons of the Heart, and JR actually stitched all 4 of these, which I love. I don't usually get to see them all together, so it's a special treat for me. JR did 2 of these on Artiste Murano Ice, which is not a maker that I know. So 32 count Artiste Murano Ice, that's winter and fall. And then summer and spring are on 32 count Artiste Murano Spa. So I think they came out beautifully. Like I said, I love to see them together, and JR is planning on finishing them into little pillows. So fabulous work. Thank you for sharing. Okay, next, Angie used, I think this is so creative, she used a motif from Happy Campers, the 2 little squirrels on the picnic table, and she finished it in the top of a box as part of a smalls exchange when she was at an event, put some treats inside the box, which is lovely. But her local EGA group liked it so much that they've asked her to do all of the animal motifs from Happy Campers into little boxes like this so they can make them part of a display at the local library. So I loved seeing this, Angie. Thank you so much for sharing, and I think I will certainly be looking at little boxes. I think I may not be the only one, so great idea. Also, Angie said that she stitched this with the Egyptian cotton equivalents to DMC, which is another one I'm not super familiar with. So thank you for sharing. I'll have to look that up. And she sent a picture of Jack, her dog. I don't know how Jack feels about camping or about squirrels, but I would assume he's in favor of at least one of those things. And then finally, I told you we had this great group today. We have one last one. This is when lilacs bloomed. This was one of my very first designs, and it was always special to me. We had a beautiful lilac bush in the house where I grew up, and so you could get these just armloads of lilacs and put them in a huge vase, you know, and have this great display. And Maureen has also stitched this because when she was growing up, her grandparents had a little yellow house similar to this and a beautiful lilac bush that had been there since the early 1900s. I think I talked about lilacs once before and how they're often called a century plant or a homestead plant because they last for so long. But I absolutely love that it brought back those memories for her the way that it does for me, and I couldn't be happier with it. So thank you so much, Maureen, for sharing that. Next up, what I'm stitching is just models again, but I get to show you one later in the video, so that's something. Then Stash Spotlight, as I said, I went to Acorns and Threads, which is always a treat. I actually went twice, but you know, I couldn't go all the way to Portland and not make that trip. But I picked up a couple of new fabrics. Of course I did. The first one is from Cedar River Linen, and I think I've mentioned I've heard wonderful things about them. And I might actually take a pause because Mosi is in here staring at the garage door, which means she's about to start singing and welcome my husband home. So we're going to stop right now, and I'll be back with you in just a minute. Okay, my husband has been welcomed home with song, and we're back here. This is Cedar River Linen, and it's a little bit hard to tell, but it's this very saturated, mottled, greenish forest color called Arboreal. So I was very excited. This is my first piece of Cedar River Linen. I've heard wonderful things about it, but this is my first shot at having some, so I'm really looking forward to that. I also got two pieces from a maker I hadn't heard of before called Miss Crescent's Crowne. This first one is called Cream Puff. It's just a lovely neutral, you can see. And then the next one is called Cuppa Mocha, which is another lovely neutral. It'll be very useful. And I really am looking forward to them. It feels really nice, and I think it'll be a lot of fun to use. Now, I also went hunting and picked up a few greyhound patterns. I'd love to do another year of stitching greyhounds next year, but I think I may need to put some more time into finishing some larger whips that I'd really like to get up on the wall, and then maybe the year after that I can do more greyhounds. But this one, Romping in the Garden, or Romping in the Sunflowers from Dogs in the Garden. This is Lindy stitches. And look at that beautiful greyhound. So pretty. And then this one, Rosewood Manor, it's called Royals of the Kingdom. It isn't a style that I would normally do, but I really like those dogs. So I think it'd be fun for variety. I'll probably mix up the colors, but I'm really pleased to have that one to look forward to. And then Beth was kind enough to give me some birthday presents, and I'm going to show you one of them because I can't resist. Look at this little paperweight. I love it. I will be having this on my desk all the time so that I can remember to be properly drunk with power at every opportunity. So that's my stash spotlight. On to World Around, I wanted to pick something Oregonian since I was in Oregon, and since I was at the coast, I picked the hairy triton, or Oregon triton, which is in fact the state seashell of Oregon. The hairy triton is a big carnivorous snail, and I do mean it's big. It's 5 to 6 inches or about 10 to 15 centimeters long. It's really very lovely in a creepy kind of way, creepy cool, but it's very common. It lives in shallower tidal water, so you can come across one easily. Lives all the way north from the Bering Sea down to the Gulf of Mexico, and from Oregon across to the coast of Japan. It's called hairy because of those spines on the shell, and they're not actually part of the shell. They're a separate thing, and I can't remember the term, but the spines help defend the snail against things like barnacles that would like to latch onto that shell. I learned that underneath the shell, or underneath the spines, the shell has a pattern of twists and then like cross pebbling that's actually distinctive by individual, and so almost like a shell fingerprint for each particular snail. If the spines are lost at some point for any reason during their life, you can get a better look at that underlying shell fingerprint. Let's see. They are carnivorous. They eat primarily marine invertebrates, so things like sea stars, urchins, clams and mussels, which I know it's a large snail, but I was kind of surprised that it could take some of those things on. But apparently they produce sulfuric acid in their saliva, which helps them get through a shell if something has a shell. And then after they've broken through that, they can inject a sedative into their prey. So it makes a little bit more sense now. They lay eggs that look a bit like clear kernels of corn, like glass corn almost. And they lay them in these swirling patterns. And apparently the females do this in large groups. So you could have 30 female tritons just laying their little egg patterns all in the sea of these beautiful sea corn, is what they're called, eggs. They spend about 2 weeks laying eggs like that in these big groups. And then once the snails die, if they've outgrown that shell and it's empty, it's a very common home for hermit crabs. So gets recycled and finds another use. I thought that was really interesting. I'm not sure I would trust them enough to stick my fingers near one if I happen to find one, now that I know they're carnivorous and have toxins and sedatives to inject. And also apparently you shouldn't eat them because they have, I can't remember if it's a bacteria or something different, but anyway, they would be potentially toxic to eat. So if you ever felt like trying a snail, that's not the one to start with. That's the world around. Questions. Last video, I asked what was your thing that you would like to have in your dream house situation, and I got lots of lovely answers from all of you. And then this week, I didn't have a question that I wanted to ask. I did, actually, but I couldn't remember what it was, and I had thought of it while I was out walking the dogs and thought, that's brilliant. I want to ask that because I want to know, and then I forgot. So, story of my life, right? Especially now that I'm older. I can have an excuse, but I thought it would be another good opportunity to say if you have any questions that you want to ask me, just put them in the comments this time and I would love to chat with you. All right, best thing. I said I would show something that I've stitched. Now I have to be clear, I didn't stitch the main model of this. That's the magnificent Chris Canada did this one, but I did the finishing, which involved stitching, and this is actually a sneak peek of my class project for the Jingle Ball. So this is called Festive Forest, and it's that beehive style that I had done with Bees in the Greenhouse, but you can see it's sort of a winter forest theme. It's got different animals, and I did it so that the trees all come together at the top, and then I finished them with these little berries and just a bit of velveteen on the base. So in a few weeks, I know those are starting to go up, the details for all of the classes from the Jingle Ball starting to go up on the Jingle Ball website, and you'll be able to see the full details, but you get the first official look. No one else has seen this except for you and I and my husband, but he is going to be there in the class. I have to say, he had so much fun last year. He's my major selling point. If you want to hear from Robert, you have to sign up for the class since he's agreed to do it again. All right, giveaway. Last video, in honor of Sampler September, we had this beautiful Scenic sampler from Heartstring Samplery. The word was sampler, lots of lovely comments, and the winner is Marla A. So Marla, if you drop me an email with your mailing address, I will get that in the mail to you. This time, we're going with a Heartstring Samplery theme, and the Magnificent Beth Twist sent this along to be donated. It's a beautiful tote bag. It says, "My scissors, my rules." I have one already that she'd given me, but she sent another one specifically for a giveaway. And I thought along with that would be this great turkey talk. It's a little mini ornament, just a quick finish. Beautiful colors, beautiful design. I got to see the model when I was at Acorns. And if you use the word turkey in your comments, we'll pick a winner of that one for the next one. All right, announcements. I should be sneaking in one more Flosstube before I go to Shepherd's Needle in Arkansas next month, middle of the month. I'm really hoping to see some of you there. I'm quite excited about that project, and I really look forward to seeing a new shop and exploring a little bit of Arkansas in the area. I've never been there, so it'd be nice to see some people in person again. You may notice in the puppy video, Dunkel has a cone on his head in a few of the pictures, and that's because he had a cyst removed from the top of his head, so he's got a few more days of cone time until he gets his stitches out. But he's totally fine. He's handling the cone very well. And yeah, that's it for me. We've got a brief puppy video at the end, and I will look forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks, and I will look forward to actually getting to answer the comments this time. So I hope you're having a lovely weekend, and I will chat with you soon. Bye.